Hey y'all, welcome back to Men Do Therapy, a show dedicated to men on their journey to mental wellness. Today I answer the question, how do I even begin therapy? And we talk a little bit of basketball. Let's get going. Hey everybody, welcome back to Men Do Therapy. I'm your host, Rene Garcia. What is up? So good to see you this week. Before I get going, you got to like the show, all right? Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. We have weekly episodes coming out, and I think this is going to be a really good reason to turn on notification this episode because we're going to kind of break it down into 3 different sections because today we're talking about how do I even begin therapy. But before we do that, I have a quick little topic I want to talk about. This week, Isaiah Thomas was definitely in the news on ESPN and a lot of different videos. If you don't know Isaiah Thomas, I believe he played for the Celtics. He was a point guard that had a little bit of popularity a couple years ago, and then he kind of just disappeared, had some injuries, and a video surfaced with him playing in the summer league. Very emotional. They saw him. I'll put the picture up of here. I'm not going to show the video, but it showed him crying after a pretty big game. And one of the things he kept saying was that people were giving up on him. People were giving up on him, and it got a lot of attention. It was trending for a little while. ESPN picked it up and was talking about it for a little bit. And I loved what he said here in this quote. He tweeted this response. He said, "Look, I wasn't showing y'all a snippet of me being emotional so y'all can feel sorry for me. Hell no. My life is great. I was showing y'all that to see what it feels like to give everything you have to something you love and to see it slowly coming back when it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to be. TMC, the marathon continues. R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle." I love this. I really hope he has a redemption story. I think that's one thing that makes sports so great is that they have these redemption stories coming up, and I would love to see him come back. But I think, like I said, seeing a grown man of color, athlete, really open up about some emotional stress he's going through, I loved how that got some notice. And so shout out to him. I wish him the best. I really hope he gets picked up by an NBA team. All right? So let's get going. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to begin therapy. And what I did is I'm going to break this down into 3 different areas. First is going to be before the call. The second part is going to be during the first session. And then afterward, it's going to be a follow-up from that initial session. It's not uncommon that I get asked the question, like, how do I even begin all this? Where do I even start? And today we're going to talk about a couple of different things, 5 different things specifically on what to keep in mind before we even make that initial call, all right? So the first thing I want you to do is turn off that TV, turn off the movie. Number 1 is be very careful on what kind of media you're consuming that is displaying some type of therapist, right? It's not uncommon therapists in movies or TVs or any kind of sitcoms or whatever it is are either really funny and weird or overly professional and just kind of awkward. And so I have yet to see a really detailed almost like long story short, I have not seen my therapy room being displayed in a movie or a TV show. A lot of the times, these TV producers and all these different things, they want to make it seem like a specific way, very thoughtful and very specific. This is what's wrong with you, or they're kind of the goofball, weird guy. Think of like Analyze This, those types of movies. And so, a lot of the times, therapy rooms are depicted in media as to be a certain way, and in real life it's not really like that. Okay, so first off, I want you to do step number 1 is turn off the content, turn off the TV, turn off the movies. Therapy is a lot of the times not really displayed in a correct way on these in these TV shows. All right, those are there to be entertaining. Those aren't there to be educational or supportive a lot of the times. All right, so that's step number 1. Step number 2, I want you to ask yourself, who is recommending me to go to therapy in the first place and why? That might answer a number of questions. If the same people, same types of persons in your life, ex-partners are all kind of saying the same thing, I think you have to kind of give that some weight. Is that saying that they're right? No. Is that saying that they're experts in these recommendations? No. But my thing is one of the first questions I ask a lot of my clients is like, okay, so who recommended you and why do you think they recommended you to me? And a lot of times that question can come with a lot of different answers. And so I'd be really anxious to know what they say and be willing to hear and sit why they are recommending it to you. And then on top of it, sometimes it can also be internal. This may be something that you may have wanted to do for yourself for a very long time, but you just didn't. And so why? Why did it get put off? What was the reason that you felt like now was the best time to do it as opposed to 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, or 2 years ago? So you got to ask yourself, where's this recommendation coming from? Okay, so that's step number 2. Step number 3, ask, what do you want from a therapist? What are you trying to get from this clinician? Do you even know? And I love asking this question too, or having this question thought about before you make that call, is because sometimes we can give therapists superpowers and we say, look, I want them to do this, I want them to do that, I want them to solve all my problems, I want them to tell me what to do. That's a very common one, and that may not be realistic in the therapy room, but I still think it's a valid question to ask for you to have some type of desire and hope for our relationship together as we therapeutically start working together. What do you want from your therapist? Step number 4. This is a really big one, especially if coming from communities, culturally different communities. What does your culture say about therapy? And I don't want you to think just about race and ethnicity. I mean, obviously, that's the first one that I would probably go to. If you come from a historically marginalized community, what does your culture say about therapy? And if you don't come from a community that's been marginalized in the past, you can ask yourself, what does my home, what does my family say about therapy? Are they willing to do it? Are they not willing to do it? Has it been discussed? Has it been pushed down and avoided like the plague? And also, what have you learned about yourself from that? What has that taught you about therapy from your culture? And then finally, question number 5, ask if you're ready for change. If you're ready for change, that's great. If you're not, that's okay too. Change is not something that is supposed to come easy. It's really hard to change. And maybe it could be the opposite. Maybe changing is something you have always done, but, asking yourself to be still and be rigid and set boundaries may be the issue. But really, a lot of it does circle around asking yourself about change. What do you feel about change? When you think about change, what emotions or feelings come around it? And I think by asking yourself these different 5 questions prior to you even looking or for a therapist or even making that initial call, I think what it does is it kind of prepares you to enter into that dialogue with them and be able to set some realistic goals with a therapist once you find one that really works. Okay. So, I wanted to make this quick little video. Like I said, we're going to do this in a 3-part series. This is before the call. I'd love to know what you think. Let me know if these questions have helped out. I want to see some comments below, and I'll definitely respond to you. And the second follow-up to this video is going to be, what are we going to do during our call and actually finding that therapist to make that initial call? All right. So like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next video. All right. Y'all, peace. Take care.